Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share my latest scrapbooking process video with you. Today I'm sharing a Christmas themed mixed media layout that I created for Viva Las VegaStamps using some of the recently released Christmas themed stamps. I'm actually documenting a photo of my children with Santa that was taken Christmas 2017. And yes, I am one of those parents that make their kids get a Santa photo every year, and it's something that I'll continue to make them do as long as I can get away with it. So for this layout, I started with some acrylic paints from Dina Wakley, and as you can see, I'm just applying the first colour there with a brayer, just randomly on my page. Now, you've got to understand that I'm in Australia, so here at Christmas time, it's hot, it's summery, and a lot of the Christmas products around don't necessarily suit our climate. So when I scrap my Christmas layouts, I tend to prefer to use bright colours that reflect our season more accurately. So I'm going in with some aqua, some green, a little touch of red, of course, because you need a little bit of red for a Christmas layout, and also just to tie in with the colours that were in the photos there. So I used a brayer and my other favourite tool, which of course is my fingertips, just wiping them off on a wipe there. Now, once I was happy with the layers of colour that I had down on the background, I went in with some Colour Blast Colour Artist ink. That's the Soot one, the black one, just to grunge up my page a little bit. And honestly, you know, what page isn't better with a bit of splatter on it? So I just splattered a little bit of ink over the top and left that there to dry. And now having a look at the stamps that I'm going to use. This first one has got like a Christmas sweater pattern on it, and I'm just going to use that for my background, just to give it a bit of interest in the background, just to start building up some layers. So I'm just using some Stays-On ink there, black Stays-On, which generally tends to be my go-to ink for my backgrounds. So I'm just inking it up, stamping it a few times randomly around the page, just to put those Christmas patterns on there and just give me a bit of depth where my focal area of the page is going to be. As you can see, I use my rubber stamps unmounted, and that is so I can bend them and apply small sections of the stamp at a time if I choose to do that. It's personal preference, really. Some people prefer all their stamps wood mounted. I personally prefer them unmounted because they take up far less room. So the second one I went in there was just that gorgeous little reindeer head, and I tried to pick out some of the stamps that, as I said, would be more appropriate to our climate. I stay away from snowflakes and all of those wintry type stamps whenever I can. So I went in with the one that said Holiday Cheer, and the little stamp that I'm using there is actually a pair of mittens. Now, I know mittens aren't traditionally a summer wardrobe item. However, you can see in the Santa photo there that my kids all have their little devil horns up in the photo, and even Santa has his devil horns up as well. So I figured that the little mittens, because it was indicative of hands, would be an appropriate stamp to use on that background. So I'm using a few others of the Christmas stamps, and I'm actually using some Ranger archival ink there, which is just a teal coloured ink, just to give some extra depth, extra colour to the background. Now, I'm happy with all the stamping there at the moment, so I'm actually going in to create some layers of patterned paper. These ones are from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, and as you may have heard in some of my previous videos, I do try and bust some of my stash whenever I can. So I actually had to dig through and found some old bits and pieces from the Cocoa Vanilla Studio 'Tis the Season collection, Christmas collection from a few years ago. And I'm taking the opportunity to use up some of the pieces that I had left in my stash. So I'm just creating a layered mat there with different pieces of patterned paper that I can create for my photo to sit on top. There's always some large rectangles I'm tearing, I'm cutting, and just using up whatever I had laying around. So I've checked all of that to make sure that my photo will fit on top, and when I'm happy with how all those layers are, I'm just going to staple them together because it makes it a lot easier to attach that to the page rather than attaching the pieces individually. So you can see, trimming that off, I've stapled them all together, and I know how they're going to sit on the page now. I don't have to worry about constructing all the layers in the order in which I stacked them up. Now you can see also on my desk there, I've got a few other bits and pieces laying around from the 'Tis the Season collection. There's some flare buttons there and there's some enamel dots there. I've also got a few wood veneer pieces, and I also have some wood veneer pieces from Wow Studio, and I actually got these in a class kit that I did with Dee Catron recently when she was here in Australia. So I just gathered together any supplies that I thought would work with the theme of this page, and just had them at hand and basically just winged it as I put this together. I don't really plan my layouts. I just gather together things that I think may work, and then as I'm putting it together, I just grab whatever I think will work best. So all the layers were together underneath my photo there, and I've just added some frayed gauze on top. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know how often I use gauze. I just love using it. It adds a bit of soft texture to the page. And then I went back in with that archival ink again and just stamped a couple more of the reindeer heads because I really loved that image and I just wanted to repeat it a couple of times. So all the layers were there together, and it was time to start building some of the embellishments on the page. I really, really love these Wow chipboard trees that I had left over from the class kit, but I didn't want to add them raw. I wanted to alter them, but you know me, I like things that are quick, easy and convenient, so I just went in with a metallic paint pen and coloured them using that. I quite often tend to use paint pens on either wood veneer or chipboard pieces because I just find it so easy to colour them. I love the way this gold paint shimmers and shines. It might be quite difficult to capture it there as I'm doing it, but you'll see it later on in the photos how much shine it's got. So once I had the little trees coloured, I popped them aside to dry, and then I was looking around to see what else I could use to create layers on this page. So in go my little trees, so sweet. Better stick down the photo. So that's the Helmer 450 adhesive. That's my go-to glue for anything tough like that. Fiddling around with my trees. Oh, I love how cute these are. Okay, so once I had my trees on, I was looking through my stash there and figuring out a way to build up the layers. I wanted to include as many pieces from the 'Tis the Season collection as I could because these little bits and pieces have been hanging around for quite a while, and I actually had some flowers left, so don't fall off your chair in surprise, but yes, I actually created a layer with flowers. It's something that I haven't done for a while. I don't know why, I just went off flowers, but I pulled these ones out and they seem to work really well with the colours in the photo, and I like the way that they look tucked in amongst the trees. So flowers it was. I also had that little merry and bright wood veneer, which was also from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. And I decided to use that for my title piece. And it tied in really well with one of the quote stamps that I had from Viva Las VegaStamps, which you'll see when I stamp it later. So the Cocoa Vanilla wood veneers, the little trees, I left those ones raw because it was a different colour to the dark Wow chipboard. So they were lighter, so I left those raw. I'm just sticking in the flowers. Now again, as I've said previously, when working with flowers, it's always easier to start with the largest size flower first, put those in, and then fill the gaps with your smaller flowers and other embellishments. If you start with your smaller flowers and then try to layer the large ones over the top, they just never layer quite right. So always start with your biggest ones first. Now I'm also sticking with my rule of threes that I tend to like. So you can see I've used 3 red flowers there in 3 different spots, tucking in some wood veneer underneath, and you can see I'm coming in with some of those smaller flowers, which are also, I'm not sure if they were from Cocoa Vanilla Studio or Delish Scraps. I'll check that one for you and put it in the comments down below. Again, more wood veneer, and as you can see, it's just a process. I'm just working across that horizontal line of embellishments which runs through the photo. You can see I've got a few bits on the left of the photo and the majority of the embellishments to the right. Now, the reason I've run the embellishments on this page in a horizontal line was to tie in with the way that all the subjects are in a horizontal line in the photo, and just to help draw the viewer's eye through the photo. So there I am with my paint pen again. I coloured in that wood veneer piece as the title, just to tie in with the gold on the trees as well, so that it would all match in. And I'm just finishing off with all the small flowers. I'm pushing them on, I'm just pushing the centres down with a pair of tweezers there, and then just fluffing up the little petals around the outside. Sorry, this is a fiddly, tedious process, even when I have sped it up. But you'll get the idea. And you can see how I'm building the layers up, building them up, and working out where things look best. Okay, are we happy with flowers? I think we're happy with flowers there. No, not quite. I really can't believe how many flowers I managed to use up on this page. I'm quite impressed with myself. Okay, am I finished with flowers? Yes, I'm finished with flowers. Okay, so as I mentioned, that merry and bright wood veneer piece that I'm using there tied in with the quote stamp from Viva Las VegaStamps, which actually says, "May your days be merry and bright." So what I did was I stamped that multiple times, and then I sat the wood veneer piece over the top, just so that it would all tie in together. And it was just luck that it worked out that way. Because as I said, I didn't plan this. It was kind of a wing it layout. Okay, so I got my title in place there. I've got the majority of my embellishments in place there. And now it's time to go back with some tiny details. So I've actually chosen a little flare button there, which also says merry and bright, which was good. It gave me a chance to use one up. And I've just got a little resin star there that I've popped on top of one of the trees. And now I'm coming in with some enamel dots, which I'm just popping on one of the trees to simulate baubles, basically. Okay, pretty happy with that placement. Time to add my journaling down the bottom. As much as I hate my own handwriting, it's important to add a little bit of journaling. Journaling's on, and it just needed something else. So in I came with some Colour Blast Colour Shimmer Spray in Bling, and just flicked some gold all over the page just to tie in those gold elements, and I was pretty happy with that. Oh no, one more thing. To finish off, I added a little bit of sparkle to the flowers using a Colour Blast Colour Shimmer brush marker, and I was done. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'll pop links to all the products below. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. Bye.